Facebook's been in the news for a variety of different reasons. We'll start off with the testifying of a whistleblower who has, I guess you have to say has alleged the formation, the development of the algorithm to really emphasize the dependency of people to be on Facebook, and specifically Facebook and Instagram, with as it impacts young minds, and realistically young female minds more disproportionately than male minds. And why this is the case, and I also want to point out that it's not so, a lot of people talk about the way that it affects females more, and it does, but it is important to note that it does impact males, and it does impact the psyche of young people in general, because I'll take this first just because it's easier to like, okay, that's an issue, we get it, versus like how it impacts women. With men, right? And this is like I guess is an interesting, weird, new topic we've never really talked about here. With men, the perception of the like macho, the bravado of being like, you know, a manly man is played up in social media as it is in movies and other things. But in social media, the thing that gives men body dysmorphia, which if you don't know, body dysmorphia is basically like, body dysmorphia is how you become, and this might be an oversimplification, generally speaking, anorexic, or this sounds like I'm making it up, bigorexic. These are, or develop eating disorders, or develop this or that. Like, these are impacted by how your development of your psyche is going into what you are putting into your minds. So body dysmorphia is that perception of your body while you are looking at, you know, for me, when I was younger, I would look at just all these lifting videos, and I would watch Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I would watch all these people that nobody told you that they're on steroids. Nobody told you that these pro wrestlers were on HGH and all these other things, right? Like, and I grew up in, you know, the early 2000s. I became smart enough and informed enough to realize, like, okay, these guys are on roids, right? But in the 80s and 90s specifically, that was a disconnect that, like, a lot of men didn't really realize that these guys are unattainable in a natural state, right? That is one form of, like, that's why, like, you look at all the toys from the era, all the like comic books, they're all like these juiced up, enormous, monstrous men that are just like not attainable. The same thing goes with, like, you look at Marvel movies, and like, I like Marvel movies. You look at movies and just in general, TV shows, like the guys on the TV shows that are like extremely jacked and ripped, 9 out of 10, I would say, are probably on some sort of performance enhancing drug, because that's what that's how they make their money. And there's before this channel was about my podcast, this channel was about fitness and working out. And I used to talk about how if you make your money from the way you look, there's nothing inherently wrong with taking steroids, right? There's a stigma, rightfully or wrongfully, around steroids because of the people that take them and, you know, get caught, like Barry Bonds or Jason Giambi or all these like sports athletes, right? But there's uses, there's times and places, right? And there's like things like bodybuilding and whatnot. But all this is to say is that men's perception in today's world is formed by social media, the same way we'll talk about with women in a moment. But obviously I have a special connection with this myself. And you get this dysmorphia that you're not big enough, you're not lean enough, you're not jacked enough, all this stuff, because you're constantly bombarded with photoshopped pictures or people that are like the epitome of, you know, they look like a Greek god basically. And those people exist, but again, they don't tell you that they're taking steroids and they only eat like this and they only do this and they work out 6 hours a day. They don't have to work a real job or all that stuff, right? All that plays into it. All of that is a factor. And it plays into, okay, what goes into a man's mind. The same thing could be said with women, right? With women, this goes back even way further than the 80s and 90s when I talk about this, but with women have had beauty standards shoved down their throats basically since the beginning of time at this point, from what it seems like to me. And women have specifically been more impacted with social media is because there's not really a great way to say this, but whether it's right or wrong, it's wrong for in my opinion, right? But throughout history, a woman's appearance has been more heavily weighted than a man's appearance. And women have become more fixated on, okay, the same way like I got fixated because it's not really that impactful to me right now, but I was fixated really for a really long time. I'm like, I want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? And women get the perception that they need to look like a model. They need to look like this or that. And it gets in their heads. And I would argue that based on, the products that are being sold to women, because, men get ripped off with supplements and that and whatever, but like makeup and clothes and this and that, all of this stuff gets sold to women through these social media platforms that are perpetuating an insecurity in women to make them feel like we need to get that. We need to get my hair to look like that. I need to get my skin to look like this or that or whatever. And like, it's an addiction it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because it's like you'll still buy the product, you will not look like that, and then you'll be like, okay, well, I don't look like that, so I'll get the next product and whatever. And it's like, it's not that we're dumb, because we're definitely not dumb. It's an addiction. It is a mind game. They are playing with us, and they know it because they can do it. They can prey on people that cannot control the impulse in their bodies, in their minds, that have been conditioned their whole lives to feel a certain way. And the younger you are and you are getting on social media, specifically as a woman right now, you are getting indoctrinated constantly with the, Photoshop, the, makeup this, do that. Like, if you enjoy doing makeup, that's fine. There's plenty of women I know that like that just love makeup, and it's like an art form for them, and that's fine. But if you were doing it for like, I need to look like that person or this person, and again, this is coming from a person that I have had it in myself that I want to look like this or that. So like, I understand it. It's not as compulsive as it is for other people, for sure. Definitely not now, but I get it. I understand it. And as a society, we have to reckon with the fact that like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of these things are preying on the minds of young people in an addictive way to make them feel insecure, to make them feel not enough, so that they keep coming back, keep comparing themselves, and keep looking at these things and say, how do I get to that? Oh, I buy this product. Oh, I do whatever. And that's how Facebook makes its money, is you click on the ads, you watch the videos, you click on the ads, you click this, click that. And the advertisers are constantly paying Facebook for your eyes, for your attention. And it's just, I don't know why we as a society have allowed for Facebook to own Instagram and to own Snapchat and to own WhatsApp and to own all this stuff and infiltrate, make algorithms to prey on you for addictiveness. And that's what the whistleblower is talking about. The whistleblower is talking about how it specifically is targeting young people, specifically young women. And it ignores the fact that we are also talking about an algorithm that preys on the people that don't know how to go research their own, information, that don't know that Facebook is not allowed to, or is not fact checking news stories. So that they don't understand that this stuff can be fake. That, I know this sounds ridiculous, but people can lie on the internet. And this may sound ageist, but there are old people that just do not understand that you can just go on Facebook and say whatever you want, and anybody can share it basically, and anybody can see it, and it can get out there, and it can get into the brains of people. Like, this is how these conspiracies, continue to thrive and claw into the minds of people that you would think know better, and it's not because they're stupid. It's because of the algorithm. It's because of the way that they're designed. It's the inherent monopolistic grind. And again, monopoly is the end state of a capitalist society if you continue to not break up these businesses and let them compete. Force them to compete. Again, we will get to this in a second here, but breaking up companies, these big, gigantic companies, it's important because it will force them to compete. It is the most capitalistic thing that you can want in a society. When you have a monopoly, again, that is what the end result of unfettered capitalism is. And that's why you need a mixed system. You need to mix these two, because otherwise you get Facebook owning everything. You get Amazon owning everything. And we will get to Amazon in a second here. But it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we do not do anything, is that they will continue to prey on our young people. They will continue to bank on the fact that nobody in Congress knows what the hell that they're talking about Facebook and Twitter, because they're all in their freaking 70s and 80s. They will continue to not realize that Instagram preys on the fact that they know that you are looking at things that make you insecure about yourself. It makes you depressed. It makes you anxious because you are not living the life of somebody else, but that person is not posting what they don't want you to see. They're not posting when they feel like crap, when they're upset, when they're crying, when they're dealing with something, when they're stressed out. No, they're just posting the picture of them smiling and doing well. And we're all guilty of this. We all do this because it's what we're supposed to do. It's what they want us to do. It's what the site perpetuates.